Hello everyone, I'm Adam with D&D Beyond. Thank you for joining me for this week's development update and community Q&A session. I'm going to jump right in. Today's lineup, latest updates. We've had some fun stuff happen in the last week, so we will talk about that. Got a data update. This one's a little different today because of the character sheet framework service being released fully to all of our users over the course of this last week. We've got some early statistics that I wanted to share with everyone to even reinforce the reasons behind what we did for the last 9 months that the team's been working on this. Some really big gains. So I think it'll be fascinating to look at that upcoming. And then, of course, questions at the end. If you have a question, type question into chat, and then we have this magical thing that collects all the questions, and then I get those at the end. We'll see how far we can get with the questions. Latest updates. Yes, so completed. So this is done at this point in time. We are really happy to share that the character framework that we've been working on, pretty incognito, because again, this was something that most of our users are not going to be really aware of. We want it to be as seamless as possible. It is something that is setting us up for the future to be able to handle new rules coming in, but also to be able to handle millions and millions and millions of characters coming into the site. And especially with everything that's going on with quarantine life, we are seeing lots and lots and lots of characters being created. So the character sheet framework is fully released at this point in time. It has been stable. We'll look at some of the metrics a little bit later, but we also were able to put in some quality of life changes with that. So we, as we were developing everything for this new framework, we were working on some smaller things like adding advantage and disadvantage to the skills section. So you're not going to hopefully forget when you roll stealth in the future, if you're wearing that heavy armor that gives you disadvantage on stealth, that's going to notify you there. And there are a few other quality of life changes that happened as well, and you can check those out in the change log. But this was just a massive effort. We haven't talked about it again except for the last month or two here in the dev updates, but it's been going on much longer than that. And this is a pretty major victory for the team, and we're really excited that this is released at this point in time. We've got some other data migration work and other work that's really important that again is hopefully going to be seamless to all of you out there. But this was a major step, and I am very proud of the team for sticking this through and really sticking the landing here. So happy to have this one out. We also released the alpha for digital dice. So this is a very early iteration and look at what's going on with digital dice. We have much more planned with digital dice, including things like, we're getting a lot of great feedback already, but including advantage, disadvantage, including the ability to share those dice rolls with others, for others in your party to be able to see them, your dungeon master to be able to see them, and all of the things that you might imagine would be included in this. I can almost guarantee you that we're thinking of it and that it's planned, and we're going to continue to iterate on that over time and make that better and better. And then, of course, some special surprises with dice coming down the road, pretty soon as well. Work in progress. So this is the first time you've seen me mark class feature variants, the very popular Unearthed Arcana playtest content that came out end of last year. We have been conceptualizing this for some time, and we've been getting this character framework in place. And then this is something that with the upcoming sprint, so basically Monday, we're going to actually start, executing on what's going on with class feature variants. Of course, we don't know how long it's going to take us, but we are actually going to start some coding on this now. We've been talking about, how we're going to do this. And so the wheels are going to get rolling big time with that, starting with the next sprint that we're doing. And then, and by the way, for those out there that are not completely down with the, product development lingo, a sprint is just simply how we time box effort and the work that we're doing. So it is a typically, a week or two. Some companies use month-long sprints, that kind of thing. But a sprint is just, start out with some work and have essentially a goal that you're trying to get to by the end of that sprint. And so sometimes this is going to be the sprint is to figure out what you need to do, and that's the goal. But whatever it is, we're going to be starting that, and that's how we time box our effort here at Fandom. And then DDB Avrae integration. So this is a big one as well. This is being worked on. We can't wait to share this with everyone. Avrae has seen a 200% usage increase since quarantine started. And so it's just a massive amount of people using the tool now. We knew that it was special, and it's one of the reasons we acquired it in the first place. But we're seeing that because of the way that playing the game is changing, that we are able to put some prioritization and focus here. And so anything that you have unlocked on D&D Beyond, you're going to be able to use that in Avrae going forward. So that's another really, really cool thing that is being worked on, and we'll have more info on that pretty soon here as well. All right, I wanted to also remind everyone, this is a really, really big deal, that right now during this time, printing for Mythic Odysseys of Theros has been delayed to July 21st because printers have been closed, and again, lots and lots of businesses impacted by what's going on with COVID-19. With that print delay, local game stores are definitely going to feel some of that pain. That's very clear and obvious out there. And we love local game stores. I personally adore local game stores. And I don't know what my weekend would be like without dropping in. I find an excuse to drop in no matter what to see if there are any new, action figures that they've brought in or anything like that. So these local stores are really, really important to us. And at this point in time, even with the delay, if you pre-order from a Wizards Play Network store, so that is, I think, something like 3,000 plus stores here in North America. There is a locator that hopefully one of our moderators can link out in chat there. But if you buy from one of those stores, Mythic Odysseys of Theros, the first 20 people who do that, buy that hardcover from the store, is going to get a 50% off discount code for the D&D Beyond version. And that code is going to be delivered. Again, we can't entirely control how those stores are going to deliver that to you, but the stores will have those in hand before the June 2nd release date. And so you should be able to use that code to pre-order on D&D Beyond as well, to get any pre-order bonuses that are associated with that on DDB. So don't sleep on this. It's a great, great way to support your local store, as well as make sure that you are still being able to access that on June the 2nd when the digital version of that launches, and being able to pick up that digital version for the lowest cost that it's ever been with that 50% off discount code. So keep this in mind. If you are able to do that at this point, it really would be great to support the local stores. All right, so data update. So again, today, I wanted to look at a little bit of the early metrics that we're seeing with what's happened with the character sheet framework. And it is good news for sure. So from a performance perspective, our server resources we were using before all of these changes rolled out, about 48 CPU. And now this is going to be some technical speak out there. I barely know what this stuff is. But for those of you who really get into this, I think it's going to make a ton of sense. And either way, I think that even if we don't all know what these things are, it's going to demonstrate the directional improvement over all these areas. But 48 CPU per node, and now we are down to 4 CPU per node. So just dramatic decrease in CPU usage there. And then average response time from 150 milliseconds to 45 milliseconds. You should be actively seeing this go better on your system, unless there are other, of course, we can't know exactly what's going on the system that you're accessing. But from our end, this stuff is much faster at this point in time. The get character, which is just a process that retrieves character information, has moved from 762 milliseconds to 268. So that is getting all of the information from your character and retrieving that. So that's that load screen that you're typically going to see. All of that has been, cut less than half here, which again is great news. And then the page load time, the average page load time, is going down from about 6 seconds to 2.5 seconds. So really that we're seeing here, and this sets us up really nicely for the future. And so just thrilled that we were able to get all of this happening. And you saw that the Digital Dice Alpha was waiting on this update. We have a few other things that have been waiting on it. So we're looking forward to getting those things into our fans' hands out there. Upcoming, we are looking at a couple of pretty big things here. So the player mobile app is in alpha now. And because of some of the testing limitations of those testing platforms, we have roughly 10,000 people that are out there accessing that at this point in time. But we are moving toward a public beta that is going to be open for all. So this is where you can actually go to the app stores and download the player mobile app that has the character sheet in it. So really excited about that. We'll have more news on that soon. And then the Digital Dice public beta. So one of the questions that we saw pop up, this could have been some of the messaging on our side that we'll look at improving this. Digital Dice is not intended to be a subscription only feature. That's not the intent here at all. So everyone, as soon as we hit public beta, will be able to access Digital Dice and roll Digital Dice. So right now, the subscription part of that is for you to get early access to this really early iteration that is in alphas, because that early access to alpha unfinished features is one of the subscription benefits on D&D Beyond. So that's what's happening there. But once we hit public beta, this is where everyone's going to be able to roll their digital dice. And then, as I've talked about before, general features system that is starting really soon. Class feature variants is kind of a lead-in to that. So that's happening as well. And then again, calling out Mythic Odysseys of Theros. It's always a big event when a book releases. That's coming June 2nd. So that is less than a month now. And as I've told you personally, I really love what's in this book. I love the flavor of it. I am playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now. So it's like there is a lot to dig into with what's going on with Mythic Odysseys of Theros. And I still stand by the claim that I think this is the best named 5th edition book so far. So really exciting, and pick that up and be ready for June the 2nd.